Good afternoon, Ori and the Blind Forest fans. Unfortunately, got a little bit of technical difficulties there. I know we're starting late, but I'm glad to see so many of you guys still here. Everybody loves this game, loves seeing these runs. They are willing to wait a few minutes if they have to. We've got a pretty good race coming up for you here. This is going to be one of the deciding matches for this group. We're getting towards the end of the stages here, and everything's kind of settling into place. We're going to have RedR3dRum versus Jelluh24. And commentating for you here, I am the Roos is Loose, and I've got Jelluh24 here with me. How are you doing today?
I am fantastic, and it is going to be a good race. Hopefully, there's a lot of potential, and it will be close within the actual group standings. Because if someone loses, someone wins, it means we'll get a three-way tie again.
Interesting. Now, as far as these players' positions are concerned, the group, as far as who's going to come out first, second, third, and fourth, is pretty much set. Red is probably going to be taking second in her group. Ice will be third, and Jello will be fourth. We're getting a little bit of info up on the screen here. You can see, unfortunately, that's not quite accurate. It is a little bit different from that. Red's projected seed is 15th, Jella's is 35th. Now, to move away from those, it is still possible, but fairly unlikely. It's more likely for Red. She needs to be faster than 39.55 to avoid dropping down. And I believe she needs a 36, like a high 36 or a low 37 to be able to move up. So her seat's probably staying around 15th. Jella is a little bit less likely. He needs, I believe, a 43 to move up, which, given his historical average, is not particularly likely. And he would need like a 55 to move back down. So we're probably going to see them staying where they are. But we've seen a lot of really big surprises come out of this tournament. So do not assume that neither of these players are going to do what they do, any of those things just listed. So, Elo, what are you looking for out of these two racers coming into this race?
Well, it's a big race in terms of Jella. He's went 0-2 unfortunately in his group, so this is time to pick up his first win, which will be a big score on the board for him. It'll boost his confidence going into the brackets, so that'll always be good. Although if he does win, it will kind of tie up, but as you just said, it won't really have a big effect on the standings unless we see something really abnormal. So an amazing PB or a very unfortunate race for someone. But they are pretty close with their play styles, so maybe we'll see a close game. We can only find out.
I'd certainly like to. What I'd like to see out of Jella here, given that he's almost certainly going to be coming out of this as the fourth seed, a lot of the fourth seeds, except for the very highest average race time ones, are going to have to play in a little mini elimination bracket to make it into the round of 32. And even if Jella doesn't win this one, I just want to see him have a good race, because going into that 8-person mini bracket, having come off of a good race will be a really nice mental boost for him that's going to make him feel better going into it. If he has a bad race here, he's going to know that his tournament life is on the line going into that 8-man and have the memory of a rough race going into it, and that might be bad for his mental state going into it. Now, Red has PB'd on both of her previous tournament races, so she's 2 for 2 on getting her best race ever in this format. So going 3 for 3 would be pretty unbelievable. Looks like we are getting started here. There'll be a brief pause while they get the stream synced up, and then we will be off. So this is an interesting dynamic between these two. Red is one of our oldest speedrunners. Well, not oldest. We have some people who have been running it since day one, but she's one of the older ones in this tournament. She's been running since vanilla and was quite a bit more active in vanilla. Took a bit of a break into DE, but has recently been running it more to get active for this tournament. And obviously it's been paying off, like I said, 2 for 2 on tournament PBs. Jello, on the other hand, very, very new. Comes to us from the Super Mario Galaxy community, where he's an extremely competent runner there. Hopefully some of his experience there can pay off and he can start to really put up some good times here in Ori.
Now, I know Giala is playing on KBM. Do you know which RedR3dRum he's using? Is that a controller?
No, Red uses KBM as well. Actually, one of the original KBM runners back in the olden days, there were like the ratio of controller to KBM was a little bit higher in controller's favor. So she's been repping KBM for quite a long time.
Should be a master of double matches, I imagine.
I certainly hope so. These two are getting just like totally identical runs here, including messing up that Frankie fight in the exact same way, dropping a shot on the second Frankie and having to kill it. It's not particularly much slower. We're talking like 1 second at most, but they're staying absolutely step for step here early on.
Yeah, they are literally neck and neck. Hopefully we won't see any major downfalls at the wall jump. It is very unfortunate to see anyone take a death there, and it does set you back quite a way. And it doesn't give you a good mindset for the rest of the race. So hopefully we see a good first set out of these guys and a very close race persisting through the race.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of back and forth here. Red did fall behind a little bit, getting an animation on the bottom of the bounce flower earlier, but has now managed to pull back ahead by getting through those brambles a little bit quicker, but it's still essentially neck and neck here. They're both coming up to their ghost door. We'll see who has, if either of them have managed to set themselves up at 1 HP correctly here. Red has, and Jelluh has as well. Very nice. That's some very good ghost doors from both of them. Moving on through into the section that's going to get them to wall jump. They're not out of the woods yet. There's still some ways to take some deaths here, or you could possibly level up early or not get enough experience and level up late. So there's definitely some pitfalls to be had here. And any, like you said, any problem you have here in this wall jump split is bad, not only in terms of time, because we don't really have the energy to make saves right now, but it's just bad for your mental fortitude, because it's the first thing you do in the run, and it's definitely not true to call this a simple split. It's deceptively deep, but in terms of your abilities, at least, it's pretty straightforward. So when you start to mess up here, it makes you feel bad because you're like, oh man, the hard part of the run isn't even here yet.
And that is a mindset people fall into. Although the glades is the first bit, you've played it a million times, you think, oh, I don't really have to think through this. It is so easy to slip up on some of the brambles, the experience.
And speaking of early level ups, Jelluh does take too much experience there and accidentally levels up on the brambles. It's not the end of the world. All it means is that that level up wasn't used later on to break some brambles, so he's going to have to pause and shoot them. It's going to cost him around 5 to 8 seconds, depending on how his shooting goes. Looks like both these guys are coming in with mid 330s on their wall jumps, 335 and 337, I believe, for Jelluh, so it's still pretty close here.
Yeah, very respectable times from both the races. The only problems is with the brambles coming up for Jelluh. If he takes any damage, it will affect him going through Blackroot Burrows, and that's where things can get a little tricky if you're low on health.
Fortunately, both runners did take 4 health, which is a very wise decision for everybody except Hetfield, if you ask me. I think you're a crazy man for going 3 health yourself, but by getting the 4th health, that means they've got an extra buffer in case he accidentally hits any of these extra brambles he needs to kill, but he did get through them nice and cleanly.
Yeah, no trouble from the Trojan log by either of them, letting them pass very easily.
You can see both of them making their way back at her quickly. Still pretty close. Jelluh is a little bit behind. You can see that difference is due pretty much just to those extra brambles he had to kill, but he's not all that far behind. You can see it's not a super costly mistake or anything. A lot of runners will reset in a situation like that just because the run has just started, and it's like, okay, it's only 5 seconds, but you know, I'm only losing 2 minutes worth of time invested in this run if I started over right now.
Yeah, both runners had a little trouble at the elbow. Ooh, Jelluh's taking another hit. I believe he's only on 1 HP at the moment, so that could give him a bit of trouble when he's entering Blackroot Burrows.
We'll have to check. He did pause to... oh, he wasn't at 1 because he hit those brambles and didn't die. I imagine he'll probably take a save on this pad here. Yes, great decision. I fully support that. He's taking a lot of damage here, so to refill his health and get that save down is not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, definitely. It only takes 4 seconds to get your health back, so definitely a good decision by Jelluh.
All right, and they're still actually fairly close here. Red is just a few steps ahead of her, just a hop, skip, and a jump, and she's coming up to some very dangerous areas here, and any deaths will take them back to that statue that we just skipped a cutscene by, and so it's a really easy way for one of the racers to just suddenly open up a pretty big lead here if one of them falls into those very, very deadly spikes beneath them.
And it is very easy to fall into that trap because these platforms do move around quite a bit, and if you catch one just at the wrong time, you can take a fall into the spikes.
Both racers looking very clean on this part, though. Red is almost through sort of the most difficult parts of Blackroot, and you still need to get through these lasers, and there's some platforms later. But the part that they're now through, I think, is definitely the most likely candidate for deaths from either of these runners.
Yeah, certainly the rest of Blackroot Burrows is just getting the cycling down, and RedRum seems to have done that very well.
You can see her pausing to manipulate the platform cycles. She pauses an awfully long time there. That's the amount of time that you wait there determines what sort of cycle you're going to get on your platforms later. The longer you wait, the more safe it is, but also it meant that you waited longer, so you lose a little bit of time on that pause there. She's waited quite a bit of time to make sure she guarantees getting this platform cycle. You can see her getting onto now. Jelluh will now be seeing exactly what kind of manipulation on his platform cycles he got here as well. But the fact that she took so long definitely let Jelluh back into it just a little bit. Yeah, he gets a really, really well-timed aggressive manipulation there. You can see how he caught that platform on the way back up, whereas Red, when she got to hers, it was on the way down. So he saved some time there with both waiting for a shorter period of time and catching it on the way up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if any of these races are watching each other, but that could play a factor. If Jelluh is watching RedRum, then it may cause him to take a slight more risks in his game just to slightly catch up where he can.
Definitely possible. I think most runners have not been watching each other's streams so far in this tournament, so I would be surprised if these ones were, but you never know.
Yeah,
Have you been watching any opponent streams on your races, or are you keeping it to just your own?
No, I keep it to just my own, so I don't have any added stress. Because if I see someone ahead, I know I will try something stupid and end up killing myself.
That's been exactly my thought process as well. I haven't had chat or uh, opponent streams up for any of my races either. All right, so Jelluh coming in with an 801 on his dash. RedRum looked like she was about at like a 745 or a 750-ish, which for a race, pretty solid time. I'm sure she's probably pretty happy with her pace so far. She hasn't had any major mistakes really, just minor, slightly slow jumps here and there. But 750 for a racer with where her PB is pretty solid.
Yeah, Jelluh also, with his split, it's a 826, so he is well ahead of his dash split at the moment. He's
Excellent.
roughly 30-40 seconds ahead.
Yeah, I would really, really like to see a big PB out of Jelluh. Like I mentioned before, he's an extremely talented Super Mario Galaxy runner, so he's got a lot of running experience in a difficult platformer, and he just really hasn't quite had the time invested in Ori yet to, I think, reach his peak potential. But once he sort of hits that critical mass of time on the game, because of his previous running experience, I think we're really going to see big things out of him. And I'd like this run right here to be where we can kind of see what sort of potential we can look for in him as a runner.
Yeah, definitely. Mario is always a difficult game to run, so I instantly respect anyone who runs Mario games.
Completely
It is very
agree.
transferable, so only better things are going to come from him.
So you can see on your left-hand screen, Red is making quick work of the Death Gauntlet. It's almost ironically named now because of the fact that we have Dash. It makes it easier to get through this area. Back in Vanilla, this was the Death Gauntlet in a non-ironic way. A lot of runs died here because your last safety save is minutes behind, and most of these brambles will kill you instantly. Jelluh, it looks like he's not having too much trouble either. He's collected the energy and he's through most of the difficult parts. He just has to get through one last part here and drop down, and they'll both be on their way to double jump.
Yep, taking the save there, so there's no worries for the rest of it. He won't get sent all the way back to Dash, and I don't believe either of these runners are going for the quick grotto cycle. No, not. Which is a very difficult cycle. Only
yeah, it's fairly low risk to go for it. There's only one particular frame that you can mess it up on and actually die, but it's just a really hard trick that takes a lot of practice. So the time spent on it could maybe be invested a little more wisely for newer runners. Jelluh unfortunately got caught in the stompers there and got squished and went back to his safety save. Fortunately, it's not too far back, so it's not the end of the world for him.
Yeah, so speaking on that grotto cycle, the truck has just informed us that it is only a 30% success rate to try and get that early grotto cycle.
Yeah, and that's a lot of runners who don't feel comfortable on it aren't even going for it either. So the fact that it's only been 30% successful on people going for it definitely shows you how difficult that trick is. I believe the numbers on it are from the time that you fall down from that bridge that we saw earlier to getting into that grotto cycle, you can only mess up a total of 15 frames worth of movement, which is pretty tight. That's a quarter of a second the whole way. Jelluh's having a little bit of trouble getting to double jump here. He's been finding some spikes. Let's hope he can get through on this try and sort of put those out of his mind and continue having a pretty clean run like he has been so far.
Yeah, RedRum is taking a slight lead. It's not big enough to say that Jelluh is out of the game at all. In the later game, it will be dependent on whether people go for harder strats, which I believe they both go for very similar strats, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any more discrepancies between the two of them.
I'm not sure off the top of my head if Red tends to go for the fast stompless and the Kuro cutscene skip. I imagine she probably at least attempts Kuro cutscene skip. I'm not sure about fast stompless, so we'll see when she gets there. I don't think Jelluh goes for them though.
Yes, they both do.
Oh really? Nice.
Yes,
That's
both
really
go for
cool.
Kuro cutscene. Sorry, mixing up my words. Jello's got it 1 out of his 2 races, and Red's got it once at least, but her stream cut out at the moment that she was doing it on her first race, so we actually don't have that information.
It's Schrodinger's stats. She's in a state of both getting it and not getting it until we find out for sure.
Evil plans.
All right, so you can see RedRum is taking a timed level up here to kill that frog, and we'll be making her way quickly into Jinso here. She's looking at around a mid 13-minute Jinso entry, which has got to be pretty decent pace for her. I'm not sure what her Jinso entry in her PB is, but she hasn't made huge mistakes yet, so she's definitely doing quite solidly here. I gotta wonder if she's been doing a lot of offline practice, because I don't see her streaming a whole ton of Ori lately. But she's not playing like somebody who hasn't been practicing. She definitely looks like she's been doing runs, so I got to imagine she's been getting some offline practice in here.
Yep, she's pretty clean at the moment, having some trouble with the spinning spikes entering the Ginso tree, but she seems to have got there cleanly, and it's looking good for the enter of the Ginso.
Jelluh on your right-hand side has managed to clean up his play after some of those mistakes around double jump and is quickly making his way out of Grotto. He'll be here in Swamp. He's going to get up to that iceless area here shortly that we saw Red at, and will also be approaching the Ginso tree. If he can get, kind of around a 15-minute-ish Jinso entry, he'll be looking pretty good here.
Yeah, there's only about a 25 to 30 second gap between the two at the moment, so that's very easily caught up if anyone makes a silly mistake in Ginso. One wrong jump can set you back quite a lot of time depending on which room you're in.
Yeah, particularly so here where we can see Red right now. These first couple of rooms, if you take a death in Ginso, the camera kind of bugs out and it will stay much lower down than it's supposed to, and a lot of times you can't even see the jumps you want unless you take some steps to correct it, which both takes some time, and not all runners necessarily know how to fix it either. So if one of these runners gets stuck with a bugged out camera, it could be very, very costly. Red's getting through that area nice and cleanly, though. Opts not to drop the safety save there, which a lot of people do go for, but looks like she's not too worried about it. Her movement's looking pretty clean. She's definitely playing with confidence.
Yeah, and Jelluh's not had too much of the mistakes up to the Ginso tree. Seems to be staying about the same distance behind RedRum, so we've got a race on our hands.
He loses a little bit of time to messing up the cutscene skip on the entrance of Jinso here. It only changes by about 6 to 7 seconds-ish, I would say, because you just have to watch Gumo walk away from the tree before you can open it up. It's actually so little time that if you do mess up that cutscene skip, there's really no point in even exiting and reloading and retrying the cutscene skip, because you'll lose just as much time to the exit and reload as you would just watching it.
Yeah, so you can see Red on the left-hand side of your screen, and she's using the timed shots, which is more difficult because people tend to go for the scroll wheel at the moment, which can give you 2 quick shots in succession, which kind of guarantees that you hit the maximum on this mini-boss and kill it as quickly as possible. It'll be interesting to see what Jelluh uses.
Oh, Jelluh takes an unfortunate death there, and he may have to deal with the bugged camera taking a death there. It looks like it's pretty okay. You can pretty much see his jumps. Sometimes when you die there, you can barely not even see these logs that he's trying to jump on here.
I believe his mistake with the cutscene actually helped him in this area. If he died when skipping the cutscene, it would have screwed with the camera. However, because he failed it and died, it's helped him a lot, and the cameras are now okay.
Interesting. I didn't know it worked that way. The boys in the truck bringing the knowledge every single run.
The benefits of missing the cutscene skip.
So Jelluh, he knew. He was like, all right, I'm taking a death in the Jinso second room. Let's go ahead and watch this cutscene on purpose and save our time later.
Exactly, the master plan.
All right, over on RedRum's screen, you can see she's got the bash ability now, which is what's going to really allow this run to kick into high gear. It's a very cool ability where you can grab onto enemies or projectiles and fling yourself in one direction while you fling them in the other, and it's going to let her just really step on the gas pedal and fly through these areas a lot faster. Interesting place to drop that save. I don't know if that was intentional.
It looked like she may have screwed up the jump a little, and then she was holding the save as she fell, so it just kind of landed that way, but...
It should still work out fine for her. She's trying to do the key duplication glitch right now, which requires having that save further down. It's still out of the load zone, so it should still work for her fine. Yeah, she gets the rekindle off and is now key duping. It should work just fine.
Jelluh is having a little trouble with the boss. It's got some bad spawns and he's missed some hits on the boss, so it is taking a little longer than he would like. But he's not taken any deaths yet, so it's just knocking away at that boss.
This is definitely one of the benefits of the scroll wheel technique on the lasers that you mentioned earlier. Because all you have to do is kind of scroll your mouse at a pretty regular pace, it makes it so that, when you're in these high pressure situations where you're maybe a little nervous and you would be prone to rushing your shots and dropping some of them, by just being able to scroll the wheel, it makes it, I think, a little bit more mechanical and more a little bit easier to not get your pacing off of the timing that you want.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of factors that can come into play with just like the temperature of the room. If your hands are warmed correctly, it is a lot more difficult, I should say, to get the right timing if any of those factors are at play.
Red manages to save her core duplicate or core skip. It was looking a little sketchy there. It was getting a little off the rails, but she does manage to salvage it and gets it on the first attempt, so she can now start her escape. 18-minute Ginso escape or start has to be pretty good pace for her. I'd be interested to know when she gets the stomp. We'll be able to know what kind of pace she's on relative to her PB, but it must be pretty good. I would imagine it hasn't. If she's behind, she can't be too far behind.
Yeah, it seems clean so far. Unfortunately, Jelluh has taken a bit of a fall in his current PB. It was about 40 seconds ahead at dash, but now at bash he's taken about a 30-second deficit, so it'll be interesting to see if he can turn us around.
Yeah, given that Jelluh's PB is what it is, there's definitely a lot of mistakes in the late game that he can fix and get back ahead of pace. Being 30 seconds behind is not the end of the world for him. We could definitely still see a very quick run out of him as long as he cleans up his end game.
Yeah, certainly with the new runners, you generally see a lot of trouble with Sorrow Pass, which is a very difficult thing to get. So there's a lot of times that generally that can be taken from a decent Sorrow Pass.
Yeah, I got to imagine Sorrow Pass has just tons and tons of time saving in his PB.
Yeah, looking at his previous races, the attempts on Sorrow Bash was 6 for his first race and then 4 for his second. So he's showing improvement through his races, so perhaps he can get it down to even 1 or 2 this time.
Well, based on knowing math, I can predict he's going to take 2 attempts on this one.
Yeah, it does seem sequential.
Let's see if the pattern holds. Alright, Jelluh is finishing up the second mini-boss in Ginso. Does a good job of collecting that experience. Doesn't quite manage to grab the lantern and get the quick exit from it, but that's not a real big deal. If he can get first try Ginso escape here, he's on pretty decent pace. Red on the left-hand side is coming up to Stomp. Given that her timer is red, I think that means she's a little bit behind pace right now, but I didn't turn red all that long ago, so I think she's probably doing okay here. Definitely something that's salvageable for her.
Yeah, definitely. Both races are looking good towards their normal times that they're getting.
Jelluh gets first try core skip, very nice. That's a trick that can give newer runners some trouble. It's a little bit finicky. There's a lot of moving parts that all need to line up for it to work correctly. You have the frog that needs to get into range. You need to kill it correctly. You need to kill it close enough and get the experience close enough to kill both sides. And you have to have correctly picked up all the correct experience for the entire run up to this point. So it's definitely something that it's easy to mess up, and he gets it correctly on the first try, which is very nice. Boys on the Truck are saying she's right. Red is right on PB pace. She's about 2 seconds behind at Stomp, which is very, very minimal. That can easily be erased by just taking a jump or two slightly faster than she did in her PB.
Yep, I don't know if any of these races are going for the 5th health or either energy cell, sorry. We will see that shortly coming on red screen if she's going to go for that extra energy cell. And it is very helpful in the late games, especially with Sorrow Pass and Misty coming up. You're allowed all the extra saves that you can get. And we see a beautiful execution of the Kuro skip from Red there.
Yeah, that was very nice. Look, textbook, very clean. All right, we'll see if she's going for the 5th energy here. She chooses not to. That's a perfectly fine decision. If she's not comfortable with it, there's nothing wrong with it. The movement out of there is not trivial, and if she hasn't practiced it, there's really no reason to risk her run going for it. She can, if she wants the safety save in Sorrow, there's an energy crystal you can stomp down to pick up after you do some of your rocket jumps, and she can opt for that instead. It's a lot less risky than the 5th energy cell is.
Yeah, the 5th energy cell can put you back to where the Kuro skip is, so you have to try it again, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's not something anybody wants to do.
Jelluh just getting that bash into the double jump on the stomp there.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to make it up there. Well played by him.
Yeah, the bash seemed very low, but he managed to clean it up.
All right, Red manages to skip the cutscene on the Spirit Tree here and is moving on into Valley. You can think of Valley as the gatekeeper to the end game. It's sort of a hub area that connects to the 2 last major areas we go to before we make our last visit to Blackroot Burrows to get Light Grenade and then end the game. But from this area, we're gonna head on to Sorrow Pass and then Misty Woods, which are 2, one, very difficult areas for new runners. Well, not just for new runners, just very difficult areas in general. And 2, that's going to have some of the coolest movement in the run, so you're definitely in for a treat getting to see what these runners are capable of there.
Yeah, I've just looked at the stats, and it looks like Red does go for Fast Stompless and has hit it first time on each race.
Excellent, very nice job from her. She's clearly been putting in a lot of work on this run to try and get back to her level that she was at in Vanilla and show us some good races for this tournament.
Yeah, it's by no means an easy trick to hit, and to hit it 100% so far is very impressive.
And she is going for it here. Let's see how the setup looks. Okay, she opts to wait for the second shot. Oh, she's dropping a safety save there. Interesting. By dropping that save, that does mean she's going to need to go use the save pad later to refill her energy, but it does also means that if she messes this trick up, she can reload it. Okay, interesting. She's opting to reload to that save when she misses it. I don't know how much time this actually saves. If she hits it on this second one, I gotta imagine it is a little faster, but she's betting a lot of time on this one working. If she misses this, then she might as well have just gone up and stomped it manually. All right, she does get it, so it becomes a moot point, and gets it on the second attempt. The safety save did end up paying off there.
High risk for high reward.
Mm-hmm. Did you happen to see if Jelluh got Kuro cutscene skip? I was watching the Fast Stompless setup.
Unfortunately, I did see, and we saw the bird.
That's unfortunate. He is opting to grab the 5th energy, though, which is a... Oh, no! Okay, well, at least he has a safety save. Yeah, by having the safety save down there, it means he doesn't have to go all the way back and attempt the Kuro cutscene skip again, which is really nice. But like I said, going for that 5th energy can be risky, and you just saw there, he didn't quite get out. And those spikes down there are instant kill, no matter how much health you have.
Yeah, quite a lot of people go for the double bash right here, but Jelluh is going just for the single bash, which is very precise to get it, and he does a very good job on hitting it.
Right, on the left-hand side, you can see Red is attempting the infamous Sorrow Bash. This trick has killed as many runs as just about any other trick in the run. Probably, at least among runners still learning the run, it's probably the biggest run killer out there.
There was some very interesting camera work going on there when she did the rocket jump up.
Yeah, kind of an odd load on the camera. It wasn't able to keep up with her all the way up there. All right, like I mentioned earlier, she's opting to come down and get this energy crystal rather than the fifth cell. So because she got that, she's very likely to drop a save here just in case this laser skip doesn't work out for her. Ooh, fancy. Wow. She does a stomp cancel through the laser. That's going to keep the frog at full health, making the juggle afterwards a lot easier. You don't have to worry about your suboptimal bash movement with the frog accidentally killing him because you got his health too low.
Yeah, it's a very impressive move. It's very difficult to do that in quick succession.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of an advanced strat to go for, so I'm really happy to see her go for it, and not only go for it, but get it first try correctly. All right, Jelluh is now making his way into Valley as well. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, that safety save for Red paying off big dividends here because she doesn't have to go all the way back outside and redo Sorrow Bash entry.
Yeah, definitely allows Jelluh to have a little bit of time catching up, providing that he gets a good Sorrow Pass.
Yeah, if he can get it first try, he can definitely get back in this if Red has a few more unfortunate deaths.
The setup seems to be good. Let's see if she can get it on the second attempt. It does seem a little fast, and it's good.
Very
No
nice.
lasers today.
So that rocket jump she just did, it's a little bit interesting because it goes through some cycling lasers, and it's a little counterintuitive when learning that trick because a lot of times runners will do the rocket jump and slam into the lasers and die and think that their movement wasn't fast enough, but it's actually the other way around. If you're hitting lasers 99% of the times, it means you did the setup too fast. So you want to slow your movement in that area down a little bit, wait for the lasers to go away before you do your rocket jump. And it looked like she was a little fast, but just managed to get through there without the lasers being in the way. Comes up and is able to get the Sunstone, and we'll now be moving on to Charge Jump and then Misty Woods.
Yeah, on the right, Jelluh is showing the other way to get the rocks, the non-fast stompless way, which is how most newer runners actually take it because it's a lot easier. But he puts a save up at the top, which is a good save, as you can rekindle it once you get up there. So if you have a little trouble with Sorrow Pass, which quite a few of the new runners do, because it's a very difficult trick, the save is much closer, and it'll save quite a lot of time, other than rocket jumping up each time that you die.
Yeah, and to be honest, for people in like the 50-ish minute range, the 15 seconds you save on fast stompless is not particularly important. At that kind of times, what's more important is just getting runs where you don't die nearly as much, because if you're in that range, that means you're taking unnecessary deaths. And cutting those out is so much more valuable than saving 15 seconds but risking 45 on the fast stompless skip.
Yeah, the setup looks pretty good from Jelluh, and goes for the double bash for safety and pulls it off first time. Very well done.
That is fantastic. Yeah, that's even with my math predictions, I still went for 2, and he managed to exceed that and get it in 1, which is, he's got to be happy about that right now. When he gets up to the charge jump, I'd be interested to see what his pace is like relative to PB, because if he's got 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts on Sorrow Bash in his best run, then he just saved himself a lot of time.
Yeah, his charge jump is a 31-36, so he is looking very far ahead of that at the moment if he gets a good frog juggle.
Ooh, Red got the rocket jump off, but managed to kind of clip her way into some branches there. It looks like she's a little unsure of how to get out of this. I'm not sure I've never seen somebody get that far up into it with the rocket jump. I've seen people kind of get into the lower branches, but all the way up there, I don't even know if it's possible to get back out of there. That was
very unusual.
Yeah. I know it's a little bit of a meme in speedrunning to say that's the first time this has happened or this has never happened before, but as far as I'm aware, this has never happened before.
Yeah,
very
I've got
interesting.
Stuck in the lower branches several times, but that is almost out of bounds scary.
Yeah. Somebody needs to tell her this is a no out of bounds category.
Terra clip possibility right there.
I suppose so. But she goes back to her save. Fortunately, she dropped a save at the entrance of Misty and didn't have to go all the way back to charge jump, so she recovers fairly quickly. Still doing okay. You can see by the red split she's starting to fall behind PB pace, so unless she's got some big mistakes that she can correct later on in her splits, probably not super likely to see a PB out of her, but we can definitely see a nice clean run that will keep her race average down and help her out in terms of seeding going into the bracket.
Jelluh is making short work of Sorrow Pass at the moment. He is well ahead of his PB. If he doesn't take a death here, which he has navigated the spikes perfectly, he has made up a lot of time right now.
Yeah, Jelluh definitely looks like he's been practicing, particularly in Sorrow Pass, because he's playing this just so much better than I've seen him do it in the past. It's really, really exciting to see him obviously stepping his game up.
What it will be interesting to see if RedR3dRum is using stomp cancels throughout Misty. She did show skill in using the stomp cancel right with the lasers in Sorrow Pass, so it will be interesting to see if she actually carries out that through Misty. Unfortunately takes a death there too if these spikes jumped a little too high with a rocket jump.
Now, as far as losing this race or anything, she's pretty far ahead here, so she's probably not likely to fall behind and actually take a loss here. What she's more worried about is just getting a clean run to keep her average down and to feel good coming out of finishing her 3 races and know going into the bracket that she's capable of very consistent clean runs. So, each of these deaths is not a particularly huge risk in the race, but it is a big risk as far as her confidence going into the round of 32.
Now, did you see which experience route she went out of Sorrow Pass?
I believe she's still going with the old one. I would be actually quite surprised. Only a few runners have started to adopt the new one with cutting the meteor kick, and I didn't actually see for sure, but oh no, she lost all the energy there. That's a little unfortunate because she also dropped a safety save. She might be very low on energy right now.
Yeah, you saw that she didn't take the rocket jump up there to the tunnel, and that may be because she's quite low on energy. We'll see when we get to the mini boss at the moment.
Jelluh now making pretty quick work of Misty Woods too. Like his end game here has been so much better than his early game was. Not that his early game was bad or anything. He's having a great run for himself, but Sorrow and Misty have just been above and beyond what I expected him to be able to do here. I'm really hoping he can close this run out and get a sick PB.
Yeah, we got a really nice one cycle from RedR3dRum there. So she had the energy to defeat the mini boss, picks up the extra energy, which was just to the right of the screen, and she is on her way to Light Burst.
Takes a little bit of unfortunate damage there, but she's most likely going to be using the save pad and Valley to refill her energy anyway, and that will also refill her health at the same time. So as long as she doesn't hit one of these enemies on the way out, she'll be just fine. And looks like she's pretty much in the clear here.
We're seeing very, very clean movement from Jelluh here in Misty, which is a scary place to go fast, but he is managing it perfectly.
Yeah, I can't say enough about Jelluh's late game here. I mean, he's playing like a runner well ahead of his current PB in Sorrow and Misty here. He's doing a lot of rocket jumps and charge dash to bashes that I wouldn't expect to always see a runner in his time, like his time bracket necessarily go for. Maybe this is some of that technicality from Super Mario Galaxy starting to come through. He's feeling comfortable with high execution movement and not worried about being intimidated by it just because he doesn't have as much practice as some other runners do.
And the extra health there coming in very useful for Jelluh. Damage to the spikes when falling down, and full health saves him. He's looking
a little bit of a heads-up play from him there. He decides to oh man, Red took a very unfortunate death. I didn't actually see where she died while I was watching Jelluh, but it had to have been before the teleport pad because she coming back and has to do the Misty mini boss again. I said something about her not being in much danger of losing this race, but she just finished the mini boss and Jelluh is coming into it now. So an extremely costly death actually suddenly makes this a race again.
Yeah, they are very close to one another. With clean movement, this is going to go down to the door warp, and we know how unforgiving the door warp can be.
Yeah, Jelluh makes a quick mini boss and is on his way out here. Red fell to the bottom of Valley and reloaded, says the Truck Boys. That is very unfortunate. I'm guessing there's almost no way that it would be faster to actually reload. She could have, if she had any energy, she could have rocket jumped off a frog to get back up. So, but it's very possible that she's just never been in that situation before and wasn't able to sort of improvise a backup strat for it on the fly. But going all the way back there was definitely quite costly. She may have not known how far back her save actually was, and by the time she had exited, it was too late to do anything about it.
Yeah, quite a lot of people do take a safety save just after the mini-boss or just before the mini-boss, so maybe she thought that it was somewhere in between there. Who knows? It has been a costly mistake, and it is very close at the moment. Anything could happen.
We still have Door Warp, we have the potentially lethal Kuro escape, and there's a lot of instant kill lasers here that either of these runners could run into. She's just down at the very bottom of Blackroot, and Jelluh himself is headed down there as well, so he's really only 10-15 seconds behind here. It's very easy to lose more time than that to just Door Warp, for example.
Jelluh is looking, his PB is currently at a 39.56, so this split is gonna totally cut that in half for this way. It's
Yeah, he's going to
amazing
be
with
like a
his
good
pace.
3 minutes ahead of PB pace here when he gets light grenade.
But
Yeah,
then
and
that's
could
so
potentially
close.
upset this race. I mean, Red just got light grenade. Jelluh is about 5 or 6 seconds away from getting light grenade himself. This literally is going to come down to door warp. Oh my goodness, if Red, unfortunately, I don't want to say it, but if she manages to throw this away, and it's because of that fall into Valley with the reload, she's definitely going to be kicking herself for maybe not playing that situation completely
No, Jelluh.
optimally.
Jelluh takes a death there. They were within 10 seconds of each other. And unfortunately, that death has drew out that slightly, but the door warp is the be-all and end-all of this race, pretty much.
And it's not unheard of to take deaths on the way to door warp either. They have a couple of lasers to deal with. There's there's definitely a good number of enemies, and there's a lot of lava and banelings in between them and door warp. So it's anything can happen here, no question about it.
Yeah, RedR3dRum has made it out of the Black Root Burrows safely eventually, and is just heading to the fiery depths of Mount Horu.
Oh, Jelluh,
no!
Okay, very
Lucky
high value
save.
safety save there. He unfortunately gets caught in those spikes while he's trying to charge dash out, but had dropped a safety save right at the entrance to the Indiana Jones room and is doing okay. At the teleporter, they're about 20 seconds separated, which door warp has absolutely cost people way more than 20 seconds before. So we'll see how this goes. If Red can secure a first or second try door warp here, she should be fairly safe.
Yeah, let's hope it's good for both.
Did Jelluh's game crash? I saw him pause, and now suddenly we have a black screen.
Oh no.
I hope everything is okay on his end.
It could just be
Jelluh just typed in chat that his game crashed. That is very, very unfortunate. Oh, I hope he can recover quickly, because to have what could have been an incredibly close race destroyed by computer issues is that's just tragic.
Yeah. Red has got 3 attempts on both races in the door warp. Let's see if she can better that at the moment. There's number 1.
Oh, please come back, Jelluh. Okay, he's up. He's up again. Fortunately, he's still back at that same save. He can still absolutely PB here, even though maybe winning the race is slipping out of reach. Yeah, because especially Red just got her door warp, so she's now on to the final escape. Should most likely be doing fine here. If she's not going for fish strats, it's probably pretty unlikely she'll take a death here. Experienced runners tend to be able to get through Pro Escape pretty cleanly. No, she's not going to be getting a PB or anything, but Jelluh absolutely still can. He was 3 minutes ahead and definitely did not lose 3 minutes to that crash.
Yep, on his PB he would still be heading towards Lifer, so he is still on form for his PB.
That would be quite something to have a crash in the middle of your PB, huh?
Yeah, I don't think that has been done before, maybe.
Well, we've seen two different cases of this has never happened before. We had Red getting clipped all the way into the tree, and Jelluh most likely getting a PB with a crash in his run.
Yep, you saw it here first.
Alright, Jelluh is now on door warp himself. To be this close to Red, who was pretty heavily favored going into this, is absolutely outstanding from him. I think everyone can agree he's gone above and beyond his performance that we expected out of him here.
Yeah, it was a shame that his game crashed. It was going to end up a really, really close race. Especially if he gets door warp on his second try, which he does. It's so bad.
Very nice. Well, you know what? That just means there's free time save on the next one for getting the crash skip.
Exactly. Look at the positives out of the run.
Absolutely. And Red is finishing out a pretty nice run here. She's holding right. There's nothing left that can end her run. She's going to be coming in around a 41:20-ish. Very good run for her. That race time is not going to affect her standings either way. She would have had to have either a much, much better or a much, much worse run for it to change her standings. She will be coming out 15th. But Jelluh here, on the other hand, is vastly outperforming what we expected him to. He can come in around a 43 here if he has a clean escape.
Yeah, which is an incredible time. If he does get a 43 or 1 or less, he can actually go up a seed. in the brackets. So it will be very tight, but he possibly could make it.
Oh my goodness. I'm getting an extremely surprising update from the boys in the truck. I was speaking when I said that she will not move. She's actually going to move down a slot. Her time that she got here ties her average with Grimelios, but the tiebreaker when you have tied average goes to who has the fastest single race, and Grimelios has a faster individual race than she does, which means Grimelios will actually be leapfrogging up above her to take that spot. Very interesting. It's not going to be the end of the world. The difference there is not huge. It's just going to change which opponent they get going into the tournament. But it is interesting that managed to happen. I didn't think we would be able to see a tied average of 3.
So Jelluh is looking to get the time under 43:02, which means he will be seeded better.
That's pretty incredible. And actually, interestingly, because Red and Grim are the 16th and 17th seeds, the fact that they're leapfrogging, I misspoke again, does not actually change who they'll be playing. They're going to be playing each other either way. It's just it only affected which one was seeded higher. Jelluh is going to be looking to come in on the sub 43 here. I think he should have it by a few seconds. It's going to be close one way or the other. I didn't see exactly what the time was when he started holding right, but it's looking to be right around that 43 range, which for him is just, that's an unbelievable time. What is his current PB? It's like a high 45, correct?
46:28.
Oh, even better. Okay.
It's a 4-minute PB, pretty much 3 minutes 30 seconds.
Yeah, he cut more than 3.5 minutes there. That is unbelievable. What an amazing run from him, and that included a crash that he had to restart for. He could have very, very much been above the 4-minute PB mark, if he had not had those computer issues. Well, GG to both racers. That was fantastic. Just way more exciting than I expected this race to be in terms of how close it was, and very exciting to see Jelluh step his game up here and get that gigantic PB.
Yeah, very clean race from both of them. We saw some things that we've never seen before in Ori. Wonderful to see. We got a PB. We had it all this race.
Yeah, this was quite something. And it's a good thing, too, because unfortunately this is our only race for the day. Our next couple of days, we're only going to have one race per. We're going to have one tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern between Skyfo and HNA Drill, and then the day after, Rasmus and BDB Rufus will be at 11 p.m. Eastern on that Thursday the 9th. So we'll definitely be able to bring you guys some more Ori content every day for the rest of the week. We got some on Friday as well. But that is going to be it for the day today, unfortunately. I know you guys are wanting some more Ori, but guess what? This is a really active community. We've got streamers all the time, so if you just look for Ori on Twitch, you can probably find some speedrunners at most hours of the day. So if you're hungry for more, absolutely come say hi. Everyone in this Ori community loves new people to show up. We're very welcoming, so we'd be happy to have you.
Yep, it has been a pleasure commentating with you, Roos.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure to commentate with you as always.
Well done to both of our runners. Please follow them on Twitch. They're amazing runners, very friendly. They'll help you out. And I believe that's us.
That'll do it for today. All right. Congrats to both runners. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We wouldn't be able to do this without you.
Goodbye.
All right. Have a great day.